Namaste, and thanks for welcoming IBM in your beautiful country and in Jaipur. It's a real pleasure to be here again. I think we spent already 4 or 5 CSI interchanges together. And looking back on the themes we had in the past, I found it really exciting that many of the things which we talked about 3, 4, 5 years ago have come true, and to be honest, have exceeded our expectations. And in all of the last years, we always talked about changes. And so you should not be surprised, as Matt and Esther already pointed out, we are talking again about transformation. But I think the difference you will hopefully feel in the next 2 days, we will be talking more practically. It is no longer a concept, it's no longer a vision. Things are happening real time. And what we as IBM want to do jointly with you is helping our clients to cope with that transformation. And this is such a phenomenal task in front of us that I think it requires every IT knowledgeable person and enterprise knowledgeable person to help here. So what I want to do in the next 15 minutes with you is basically to share with you a little bit the bigger context of how IBM as an IT company is approaching this. And then translate it into what we think from a product point of view it requires to help our client efficiently. So before we go into IBM's perspective on that, I wanted to make sure that we all agree this is not an IBM theme, it is not a theme of one of your companies, it is something really pervasive. And I picked a quote here from Forrester, which I think shares very well what's going on out there. Forrester regularly publishes the next big trends. So in 2013, they published 2018, what's going to be real hot. And no surprise, we talk about infrastructure in the coming 2 days. Also, Forrester believes infrastructure will matter because business matters to people. Business outcome matters to people. And we will realize that on one hand, IT is the enablement factor to actually drive business changes. But then at the same time, you need IT to be there in a reliable and secure way. So it is a double role which infrastructure plays in the transformation which is going on right now. Now still, this is an IT guy. It's somebody from our family, our joint family here. Let's step back and step into the mind of our customers for just 1 minute. IBM does a regular, what we call CEO study. We talk to CEOs every 2 years around the world, more than 1,000, large companies, small companies in every country of the world. And we regularly ask them, guys, what do you believe is the most affecting factor for you in your business? What are you worried about at night? And you can see what has changed over the course of the last 10 years. Technology always played an important role, and in specific, IT technology. But I think everybody out there, our clients, your clients, our clients, realize that technology became the #1 factor for the future of their businesses. And that is great news for us. Being technology partners to those customers is a very nice value proposition. It means we will be essential for those guys. And as Esther just shared, everybody recognizes I need to do something, but only 10% believe they are ready to do something. They need you and us. Now, what's IBM's perspective on this change? IBM basically, from a strategy point of view, is focusing on 3 major initiatives. The first major imperative from IBM's perspective is that data will become the dominating force in the market. It will make markets. It will create new business models. So that is something every company out there has to deal with. Not only since Amazon revolutionized the retail business. No, it is affecting every industry. So that's number one. Number two, we all jointly realize cloud has become the dominating delivery model. More and more clients are no longer willing to play around with hardware and software and knit it together and do something. They understand, given the dynamic out there, the requirements put on them from an IT perspective are not allowing them to work in discrete steps. They need something which scales automatically. They need something which can grow and shrink as their needs grow and shrink. So cloud started as a cost-saving model, but now cloud has become an enabling factor to do all the smart things around mobile analytics and social capabilities which our customers need to have in order to survive with their own businesses. And last but not least, resulting out of that, we see probably the biggest single area where your customers and our customers need help is to reorganize the way they deal with their customers. Now, IBM uses a term for this called systems of engagement. And this is not new, by the way. We have changed systems of engagement in the past. The IT industry has done it since its invention 50, 60 years ago. I want to remind you of a very practical thing which happened mid of the 60s. IBM invented something called the little magnetic stripe. And at the same time, it invented something called System 360, which was the mainframe of those days. This was the first change of a system of engagement. Because before that, if you want to have money from your bank, you walked into a branch office. With this little change of these magnetic cards and a reliable computer system, all of a sudden you could create something called ATM. You say, okay, what's new? I tell you, take this times 10, and you will realize the change which our customers are confronted with right now. All of a sudden, the guys are no longer going to an ATM. All of a sudden, they want to do banking business all over the world in any paid part of their life. They want to do it from their mobile phone. They want to do it with their internet access. And all of a sudden, the systems of engagement for the bank have changed dramatically. Social plays a big role in this. Social media. All of a sudden, marketing no longer happens through traditional advertisement, it happens through communities. Facebook has become a very important way to get to customers. And all these examples are describing the bigger picture of what we mean by systems of engagement. So those are the three main pillars. Now, let's take a quick look what's going on out there. And you will hear probably more examples, and you can add more examples to it as we go. 63% of the people, meanwhile, do mobile business. They purchase mobile. 40% socialize more via Facebook than they socialize face-to-face. I confess I don't think that this is a good idea. But it's reality. It's the reality we have jointly to face. There's no better thing than having a meeting together, have a lunch together, and a beer together. But still, this is the reality. People spend their time in the net. And all our customers have to react to this because they want to reach those guys while they connect with friends via Facebook. Cloud has become a pervasive trend, a little different by geography, more so in the US, less so in Europe. I'm pretty sure you and your companies recognize the difference as well. But cloud is coming. The benefits of availability and cost competitiveness are so dominant, everybody will say, yeah, that's the only way I can survive. And last but not least, data, coming back to the first imperative, data is the pervasive new resource. And this resource is growing in a way that no human brain can ever cope with that. So analytics becomes the dominating question if companies want to capture the value which sits in the data. They need to find a way to intelligently attract this. And how serious IBM is about this, I'm pretty sure you are aware of what we call Watson. This cognitive computing technology, which we launched about 3 years ago. And by the way, we made a major announcement today. We announced that we will make Watson Analytics available to everybody. Every student in the world, every company who is interested to play and learn about Watson can use Watson Analytics real time, for free, for 30 days. Because we are convinced this is the only way to cope with this phenomenal growth, not only from a pure infrastructure point of view, storing stuff and keeping it safe and secure, but more importantly, to mine, to capture all the value which sits in these data. Now, what does that mean from an infrastructure perspective? And you read in my title, I'm part of IBM's hardware division. So how does this affect us in STG? What does this mean for us? First of all the trends we talked about all those trends have significant impacts on the people you talk to in your customers. It will change the way how applications are written, and you are in the middle of that. Now, unfortunately, many customers still have legacy which are more monolithic, and they don't find a way to get rid of it easily. But all the new stuff coming in as an app is much more modular, is much more consumable, and much more adaptable. Traditional IT infrastructure, here is the mainframe, here's the storage device, and that's it. It's history. It's still used, and it will be used in a different way. You need to be much more dynamic. You need to be able to really commission these IT infrastructures in a much faster way. I talked about cognitive systems, and I talked about Watson. We saw the growth in storage, the growth in data. Now, the challenge with that is this growth happens mainly on the unstructured side. So it's no longer the nice SAP table everybody knows, and we know exactly what's coming at the end of the week, what we need to store. No, it is data being thrown at us through different tools. It is coming through different channels to us. Mobile, large analytics checks, and we have to digest those. It is unpredictable. Give you an example from one of our large banking customers in Europe. These guys in the past, in the good old days, when they had a transaction on their core banking application, they knew for every transaction, every account movement of their customers, they were getting some money for it. Nowadays, they are faced with a very different challenge. Everybody has this little mobile phone and is looking through his mobile application, what's my account summary? What's the balance? Now you will say this doesn't matter, this is not a big problem. For this bank, it became actually a big problem. Because all of a sudden they had 9 transactions. But only one of those 9 transactions created value add for the bank. People were looking through mobile at the account balance, but not doing anything. And this created unpredicted workload on their mainframes. These are the kind of shifts happening on the infrastructure side, which everybody has to deal with, your customers have to deal with, and you need to prepare them for, right? We believe that this is no longer being done through proprietary platforms. Openness in IT infrastructure is the name of the game. From that perspective, this is what you can expect from IBM, and we are definitely committed to it. And last but not least, a logical consequence out of that, yes, we talk about infrastructure as a service. You call it cloud, you call it whatever you want, but this is what you can expect from IBM through software and other technologies. Now let's summarize. There is still a high degree of attention on traditional workloads. So banks still rely heavily on their core banking applications, and they want to have mainframe capabilities for that. But at the same time, they are confronted with the new workloads being driven out of analytics, mobile, and social applications. And those new workloads require very different systems of engagement, as we discussed earlier. And they require a different architecture. This is the demand side of infrastructure, if you wish. The good news is, on the offering side, on the technology side, there are a lot of positive changes helping us to change the world and to answer those challenges. In order really to become scalable, flexible, reliable, secure, and manageable, those are, from our experience, the attributes which our customers want to see when they talk about future infrastructures. There is a whole host of technologies available which you can apply to this. And it ranges from high-end, mainframe, highly secure, highly available technologies to very scalable, flexible technologies on the other end. Analytics, for instance, drives a very specific requirement because we talk about huge data volumes in motion which we want to capture and analyze. This has created a performance hunger which is unbelievable. One strategic answer to this for you and your customers, for instance, is flash technology. And you will hear more about that and how IBM has successfully helped clients in exactly this specific space, high-performance analytics, addressing with high-performance flash technology. We think, as I mentioned before, we think openness is the name of the game. You see IBM committed to openness, not only since Linux and not only since WebSphere Apache. We believe also Power will be the next big open platform. And we are very happy that other companies, large clients like the Googles of the world, are joining this effort to create a platform which has ease of use and low TCO, and at the same time provides the necessary reliability and performance which you need if you want to create those systems of engagement which are able to answer to your customer anytime, anywhere in the world, and which are fast enough to guarantee a sub-second response time. Because I'm pretty sure you read the statistics as well. Mobile users usually turn away from the application or the website they are looking for if it takes longer than 5 seconds to build up. So this is a complete new set of requirements which your customers have to deal with and their IT shops have to provide, usually at flat or reduced budgets, as we all know. So you can see the requirements, the design requirements for data on the top. Massive I/O bandwidth, cognitive capabilities, very low latencies. These are the key requirements we see, and you need to have appropriate technology which is able to answer this in real time. I will leave it here. I want to leave you with a few sound bites around products you certainly will hear much more about in the course of the next 2 days. And the purpose of our sessions today and tomorrow is not to share with you only the large strategy from IBM's perspective on this market, our joint market, but also to talk to you about real existing solutions, proven solutions which we have deployed in customers around the world. And you can see yourself, we have answers to the problems your customers are facing. And we hope jointly we can address the 90% of the guys who recognize we have a problem, but we don't know how to tackle it. And I'm pretty sure between your companies and IBM, we have the medicine to help those guys be successful in the future and save their economic life in the future. With that, I thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a successful 2 days.